Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. I have an admission to make. I am a huge fan of the Big Bang Theory. I am in therapy for it, don't worry. But I did wonder how they made their logo animation. So I sat down and recreated it and had a bad time. I created this 2D version and I ended up making a 3D version of the atom here, and it turned out to be actually a lot easier than making the 2D version, which surprised me. Let's go inside and have a look at the actual composition itself. Now what you'll find is for the text, if I click on the text here, the font they've used is actually just Impact, which is a standard font and it's a black color. So all I did was I laid out all the words because they're all different sizes by typing in the word and then going over to the transform tool and just putting it into position. The only thing you need to be aware of, or there's two things you need to be aware of, and that is on the word bang here, there's actually a gradient. And how I did that was I took the word bang and I put it into a background like this. And I'll show you what I did. I made it a gradient background like that. So the word bang came in as a mask and then went down just to add that redness to it. The other thing is on the word big, the dot on the eye on the original show is actually slightly different. So go check that out. As for the actual 3D atom, let's get into how I made that. So I've got a blank composition here. If you don't have a composition, come up to the right here in your media pool and just right click and say create new Fusion composition. Then just drag it down into your timeline, hover over it, right click and hit open in Fusion. So the first thing we're going to do in Fusion is create the background. So I'm just going to grab a background from here and link that across like that. We're going to click on the background, come up to here and change it to gradient. The first color we're going to make is we're going to click here and we're going to make that a bright yellow. Then we're going to go across a little bit. Just click on that line and it will create a new triangle like that. Click in here and we're going to put in an orange. Go a bit further, or actually just drag this one up like that and then click on that and change that to another shade of orange. Then what you can do, control middle mouse just to zoom out a little bit, is you can pull this dot here over to the center like that. Change the gradient from linear to radial like that, and then just play around with this until you're happy, something like that. So now we need to start building our 3D scene, and how we do that is we come up to the toolbar just here and we need a camera 3D, a merge 3D, a spotlight, and we need a render 3D, which is this one just here. Let's connect those together. Now the render 3D allows us to take our 3D world and join it into the 2D world of DaVinci. And what we need to do is click on the background node just here and then come up and add a merge. We can then take this, connect it in, and we're all set. Right, we need to add our objects, and what I'm going to do is actually drag in another merge node. We're going to connect that across. What I like to do is keep this merge for lights and cameras and then this one for objects, and then it just stops things getting cluttered. So we're over here. Let's come to the toolbar and we're going to bring in a shape 3D. We're going to click on that and we are going to call it ring, like so. We are going to connect that to our 3D merge. Now, even though I've called it ring, if we come up to the right hand side, you'll see it's a plane. So what we need to do is change it from plane down to torus. And then by clicking the left hand dot, if we put it in this window here, we'll see that we've got a nice donut shape. First things first, let's change the color. So under materials here, change it from white to say like a gray, like that. Go back to the controls. We're going to change the radius to 8. And you can see straight away it's starting to look a bit square around the angles there. And the reason for that is we need to change the subdivisions to 60 and 60. Then it rounds it all off. A bit thick though, so we're also going to take the section point here and take it down to 0.15. Right, let's add in our atom. So again, we're going to come across here, grab a shape 3D, connect it in like so. F2, we'll call it atom. Clicking on the atom, remember it's coming as a plane, so we need to change that to a sphere. And the general settings for this, I believe, are pretty good. The only thing we need to do is change the color. So let's go to material just here, hit on the color, and give ourselves a nice reddish sphere like that. So now we need to change the shape of the ring because it's too circular. It needs to be more elliptical. So clicking on the ring, come over to the transform, come down to scale, and where it says lock X, Y, Z, just untick that and change the Z value of, I've already done it previously. We change the Z value or Z value 0.36 to 0.36 and it creates this shape here. We're now going to come over to our atom and we're going to add a transform to it. So click on it, shift space bar, and we're looking for a transform 3D. Make sure it's the 3D one and click here. Now I've written down the code, the actual system for making the atom follow the path. And the way we do that is, I'm just going to copy this. We click on the transform and then go up to the X and then right click, expression, and take this, copy, paste it in like that. We're going to do the same for the Z angle. Now, if you're wondering where I got these codes from, I'd like to tell you that it's from years of university education that I got these, and nothing to do with the fact that I used ChatGPT to give me the formula. So now when we play that back, we get that. It's not quite fitting. Let's go to our ring. Let's change that to 0.25, see if that helps. There we are, spot on. That's exactly what we need. We're actually done, guys. Seriously, nearly there. Right, if we want to have some fun with it, what we need to do is let's bring all these together and just drag them out. Let's also change our camera. So here's our camera. We're going to put that in the view like that. We're actually just going to drag it back by using the blue arrow. Make sure you've got it all in shot. There we are. And what we're going to do now is we're going to click on this merge. And we're going to go shift space bar, and we're actually looking for a duplicate 3D, which is this one here. Hit that, add that. We need to come across to the right hand side and we're going to change the copies to 4. We're going to change the time offset to 15. And then we're going to come under the rotation and change it to 30, 30, 30. Let's play that. Now, how cool is that? Now, the only thing I don't like is it's looking very, very flat. And the reason for that is the way the lighting has been set up. So what we need to do is click on this merge here. Make sure pass through lights is ticked. Go to the next merge. Do the same thing. Come to the renderer and make sure enable lighting and shadows is on. And everything will go black. So what we need to do is go to this spotlight just here. Make sure it's in the left-hand window up here. Go over to the transform and then come down, and where it says use target, click that. And that makes our life so much easier. Because what that means is I can move this out like that. As you can see, it's already affecting it. Then move it across, but it always points at the object, which is so cool. Next thing we need to do is actually clicking on the light, come over to the controls. Currently we have it set to no decay. We actually need it to be quadratic. And the reason for that is the no decay, it doesn't matter how far or near the lighting is, the shadows are not truly organic, whereas quadratic is. So click quadratic, change the cone angle and the penumbra angle. That defines the softness of the edges. And then come up to here where it says intensity. Let's give it a value of 20. Nope, that didn't work. Let's change it up to 50. That didn't work. Let's come closer on the light. Let's copy the light. That's probably what the problem is. So right click, copy, right click, paste, like so. Connect that in like that. Make sure it's in the window by clicking this dot here. And then what we're going to do is it's exactly the same as the other light. So we're going to move it into the opposite direction like that. Go to the front view and just bring it up like so. Actually, let's do that on the other light as well. Let's bring that up like that. We're going to make one more copy of the light. So copy, paste, and connect that in like so. Make sure it's in the window. And then on this version, we're going to bring it right down and right across like that. So we've got 3 lights going. Now you'll notice it's still pretty dark. So what we're going to do is clicking on the merge, shift space bar, and we're looking for an ambient light, which is this one here. Bring that across and crank the intensity up to something like that. Let's just quickly go back to our atom. Under the color, you'll see this one here that says specular. Go on to that and change the intensity to 3. Let's do the same thing for the ring. So go to the materials, find the specular, change that value to 3. Let's play that. The only thing now we need is an atom to actually sit within the center of that, which is very easy to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to drag in another shape 3D, connect that across, click that shape, F2, we'll call it center atom. Now, even though I've called it that, remember it's not a sphere, it's actually a plane, and we can see that right here. So what we need to do is go up to here and change that to sphere. Let's increase the radius a little bit. Remember the color thing, so let's go to the materials, go to the specular, and crank that up. Let's see what happens if we make it 5. Too much. Let's bring it down. Make it 3. So we're looking pretty cool, but we can actually make it cooler, and how we do that is by using another duplicate. Now, to keep things a bit sane, what I'm going to do is add a transform after this duplicate. So shift space bar transform, make sure it's the 3D one. The reason I did that, it means that by clicking on this transform, I can just move that single atom where I want it to be. So clicking on this transform, we're going to shift space bar, DUP. We're going to add a duplicate 3D. Make sure it's the 3D one. Drag that up like that. Click in a blank area, shift space bar. We're going to add another duplicate 3D below it. Take the output from this transform, connect it across like that, and then take this and put it into the merge like so. Clicking on the top one, make sure the dot is in the left-hand window like so. I'm using control middle mouse button to operate that. I'm going to change the value to 3. Then what we're going to do is we are going to offset it in the Z, minus Z. Let's just zoom out. And we're going to also offset it in the X. We're going to come down to the bottom duplicate, same thing again, put it in the window, put it in this window, my apologies. Change the amount to 3, offset it in the Z, and offset it in the X in the other direction, like so. So now it's time to animate our camera. Make sure your duplicate is in the window like that, and then click on the camera. We're going to go to frame 0. I'm going to drag the camera all the way to this first atom, like so. By clicking here, we can add a rotation to it, which we're going to do. And bring it across by hitting the move tool, across like that. Come to your transform section here and make sure all the keyframes are selected. Then what we want to do is come forward to say frame 120. We're going to make sure that the camera is on the move tool. We're going to drag it out, bring it across, bring it in, and then rotate it so it's back on our central atom, which is that one there. Very cool. Now it's automatically created the keyframes for that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the very end, and we're going to do a soft pull out of the camera, just add that professional touch to it. So we're just going to pull back. Now what we need to do is soften out the motion. So make sure you're on the camera, come up to the spline tool, come here, click on that, hit the zoom to fit button, which is this one just here. If you come down here, there's a tool here. It's called Select All. Click that, selects all the keyframes, and all you need to do is hit S to smooth out the animation. So when we play this back, the first thing you notice is that towards frame 120, everything looks cool, but at frame 0, it's looking very, very flat there. So the way to fix that is with the spotlight. So we're just going to drag that in. I'm going to rename it F2. We'll call it Wonder Light. OK, and then connect it into the merge like so. Make sure it's in the left-hand window, and you'll also see that I've got the atoms in there as well. Go to frame 0, drag this across like this. We're going to go to the very first atom, and we're going to rotate that light in. Let's take the power down a bit to say 0.8, like that, and go to the transform section and make sure all the keyframes are selected. Now what we're going to do is go to frame 120, and we're going to use the move tool. Remember, it's this one here. We're going to drag that all the way over and rotate it around like so. So one of the things you'll notice is when it gets to frame 120, the light is actually blowing out our center atom here, but that's actually an easy fix. All we need to do is go to the control panel here. On the intensity, click a keyframe, go back say 20 frames or even 30. Click another keyframe, go back to the original 121 and change the value of the intensity down to say 0.5 or even lower. Take it down to 0.3. Let's play that back and see how it looks. So it is looking pretty cool, but there is one final thing we can do to make it even better. And that is if we click on this renderer 3D here, let's change that to hardware renderer, which I should have done at the beginning. Slap me with a wet mackerel. Go down to accumulation effect just here and hit enable accumulation effect. And the first thing you'll see is everything goes crazy because we have depth of field selected. Change the quality to 8 and keep it at 0.2. So now when we go to our camera, if you come down under the control section, you'll see it has focal plane and it's currently set to 4. If you mess with this slider, you can take the camera in and out of focus, which is really cool. So what we'll do is for the first frame, we'll make it 10. It's about there, and we'll hit a keyframe just there. We'll come through to frame 120. What we're going to do is take that up to 20. Very cool. Right, let's go back to our renderer now and change that quality back to 32. You can go higher if you've got a really modern graphics card, but be careful, like I say, because it really can stress your card. Let's play that back and see how that looks. So very cool. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was really fun to make, and like I say, it was kind of a tribute to the Big Bang Theory. As you can see from here, I just did a separate animation where I put it up here. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I do read them and I will get back to you. And if you have earned a subscription, please click that subscribe or like button now. I really appreciate it and it'll help me buy new teeth. Thanks. Bye.